Hey everybody, the Irish Demon here, back with another video. We got a weird one for you. This happens in a place that, to be quite honest with you, I forgot to go to today. The gym. That's 34 years in a row now that I've forgotten. So yeah, this happens in a gym, and this creepy dude starts recording other dudes in the shower, and he gets confronted and turns on the waterworks and all that good stuff. Sorry about this moving around. I gotta fix this desk, but let's check this absolute weirdness out.
I was in the shower and I turn around and the curtain obviously on, right?
Right.
And I see something move from underneath the curtain, and I go to look and I see that this guy over here is trying to sneak back into the other shower, and he's on his phone, right?
Okay.
And that I was like, what the hell is that I'm seeing? And it just came to me that it was his phone. He was recording me.
Okay.
And he's over here trying to delete it because he sees that I'm coming out of the shower. And he's like, oh,
Shameless
I'm
plug.
sorry. He's definitely recording me.
Okay, did you see it recording?
Yeah, I didn't see the recording because I made him delete it, but his phone is like in some other language, and it's an Android. It goes to the trash file.
He was apologizing. So
He needs to go to jail.
He admitted
If I do this to someone else, like,
Right.
what else is he doing outside of this? What is he?
Right. Do you have your identity?
I do not. I left my wallet at home. I have it on my phone.
That's fine. That's he's still inside though.
And he's begging, crying, like, but you did that.
Right.
Okay, so off the rip here. So anyway, yeah, basically he's recording other gentlemen in the showers at the gym, right? I just don't get why though, you know? You see these cases pop up all the time, right? It doesn't matter if it's male on male or whatever, it makes no difference really. What it comes down to is this kind of like secret recording stuff, right? Like putting little cameras in the toilets or whatever the case may be, which by the way, there's websites dedicated to on the internet. And I remember one guy on a video ages ago, it was a similar case in a school talking about how there's literally websites that are legal with all of this stuff on. And I'm like, how is that legal? But anyway, I digress. It's not legal in Ireland, I can tell you that much. It's definitely not legal in Ireland. We have very, I mean, not over the top strict rules when it comes to that kind of, adult content. But there are certain rules that are pretty strictly enforced as well. So I just don't get it though, like from my understanding, it's not hard for dudes to meet other dudes, especially in gyms and stuff like that. There's apps for that, like for men to meet men, for women to meet women, whatever along the spectrum to meet each other. So I don't understand why you'd have to like covertly record somebody if it's that easy. Apparently it is that easy. I don't know, but apparently it is that easy. There's even an app specifically for lumberjacks dating. It's called Timber. I promise that is probably not going to be the only dad joke of the night, but alas, here we go.
Okay. Roughly how long ago was this?
It just happened. I literally grabbed this phone and walked up here about 10, 15 minutes ago.
So when you confront him, just before we go and talk to him, what did he say? How
He
did
was
you
just
react?
apologizing, and then he got scared.
So did he know? He knew though what you were talking about.
Yeah, he knew. He's aware of what the situation is. Now he's begging and crying and trying to get his phone back. The gentleman up here, I think, has his phone.
Okay, so, all right, we're gonna go talk to him. If you can, just.
What is the outcome for him?
So we need to figure out what was in the phone, right? We need to either hear him say, "Yeah, this is what happened," or we need to see some sort of.
It's
something.
deleted now, though.
Well,
So because it's deleted, you guys probably can't do anything about that?
unless he were.
I mean, telling him to delete it was not a great idea, right? Now, obviously, nobody is prepared for a situation like this. When you go for your, monthly gym day. I don't know how often people go to the gym. To be quite honest, I have no idea. The only gym I know is Jim Beam, the whiskey. Like literally, hate the gym. Used to go a lot in Australia because I had air conditioning. Uh, I've gotten quite fit over the past maybe 6 months or so. I've been really working on myself, but I do it, and this is no better or worse than how anybody else works out. By the way, it's what suits me and suits my brain. I go into the fucking woods and I find deadfall trees and do some like fire, the fire maintenance stuff in the forest, just purely in our own forest here. Like just that keeps me like I've gotten really strong from it. So I could not sit in the gym all day. There's absolutely no way in hell. It would just running on the spot. I don't run, by the way. I'm built for feed, not for speed. I don't know how I got onto that point. I had an incredibly long day. I was working a lot today, and it was very, very, very hot. I work in a lab, and I was supposed to start really early this morning because of the heat today, because our equipment is incredibly sensitive, especially to temperature. Temperature is a huge part of what we do. So, yeah, needless to say, I was asked to come in and work the night shift instead, after being awake all day. So I'm pretty cream crackered. What? Oh yeah, this says it's Duluth Police. Is that Duluth, Minnesota? Like from the TV show Fargo, or is it a different Duluth? Does anybody know? I'm sorry, I'm so itchy. The dust here at the minute is just unbelievable. We've had like 14 or 15 days straight of really, really hot weather, which is unusual for motherfucking biggest fucking moth I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Put me in a forest. I'll deal with any of the forest creatures. Spiders, not a huge fan of, but I'm okay. Mice, rats, squirrels are shifty fuckers. But other than that, moths, man, can't do it. Butterflies, fine. Moths are just butterflies' ugly cousins, frankly. I know this is a massive detachment from the video, so I do apologize for that in advance. Same as slugs. I don't trust slugs. I do not trust slugs. They're just homeless snails. So they've got nothing to lose. But anyway, let's get back to this. I don't know why I paused it. I do apologize. I'll try not to interrupt as much.
I admit, yeah, I did X, Y, and Z.
Put you in video proof or his admission, both verbal admission.
Right, because if there's nothing there,
Well, he will say he did it. He's feeling like that.
so we're gonna go talk to him, and then I'll come back out and talk to you.
My stuff is in the concept inside. You
Oh,
want to
you
bring
can
him
get your
out
stuff.
here? Or
Where's he at?
I mean, I'll wait out here. That's fine.
He's afraid. He's in a fetal position behind my desk. Figuratively.
You were the manager who talked to him?
Yes, sir.
Can I just see your ID real fast?
I don't have my ID on me.
Okay, I'll just get your name and date of birth later.
We'll just skip this on.
Okay. We're gonna talk. Let's go outside.
Can you go back inside, please? And we'll catch up with you, sir.
Stay right here.
All 54 radio. What was the numeric on basis for
You speak
56?
English? Okay, what happened in there? Be honest, because right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's taking a shower.
Okay.
I just tried to take a video on the phone. He saw me.
823, 823 basis common.
Well, hey, look, at least he admitted it off the rip, right? He didn't give some bullshit story or whatever. I suppose the thing that strikes me immediately is on the balance of probabilities, what are the chances that this is his first time and he just so happened to get caught? Like, how many other people's privacy has he invaded here? Like, people are really, obviously, I think anybody watching this is probably the same. Like, I personally, I seriously protect my privacy. My privacy is very important to me, which, it suits where I live, for example. I live in a tiny cottage way out in the middle of nowhere. Like outside right now, there's you can see all the stars. It is magnificent. And that suits me down to the ground because I'm a very social person. I'm very pro-social. But when I'm at home, I'm in my cave. I'm in my spot. There's no people knocking at the door selling me shit. It's awesome. And my driveway is about half a mile long and I can see all the way to the start. So if I see somebody coming, I know who it is in advance and I can decide whether or not to leave them in the gate, which is awesome. How did I fucking get onto that? Oh yeah, the privacy thing. Privacy is very important. And in the modern world, our level of privacy has diminished. Even like I'm 35 almost. And even in my lifetime alone, since the internet, social media, smartphones, CCTV, all that kind of stuff, our privacy has slowly but surely diminished. So what little amount we have in a fucking shower stall, for example, is sacred. Like my privacy to me, no matter where I am, is sacred. It's so important. Some people are way more free and open about it. I'm not. I mean, I do have the body of a god, Buddha. I know Buddha's not a god before that comment comes in, but I'm not ashamed of my body. I don't mind. Like I'll walk around here. Sorry, ladies, hang on to your hats. I'll chop wood out there topless in the sun because it's fucking hot as hell, and I want to get a bit of color on me, and I'll chop away and keep my t-shirt fresh. Do you know what I mean? And if somebody happened to come by, I wouldn't be bothered by it. But if somebody was hiding in the trees filming me, I'd be bothered by that. So it is a massive breach of privacy. It's just horrible. Like I hate this kind of thing.
Did you delete it?
Yeah. He on the I show him just deleted at the same time.
Okay, can you pull it back up or no?
I deleted. You want to?
I'll be right back,
Where's
guys.
the deleted folder
29,
on your phone?
Him.
Usually when you delete something, there is an archive folder or a deleted
Oh
folder.
no. Yeah, I deleted everything.
Okay, I need to go look at the log real fast.
Give it to us.
Okay.
Can you-
ID on you?
My ID in the car.
Can you bring him inside and I'll be right back?
Is it? Yep.
This is your phone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it turned on? Okay. I know it's in a different language,
Yeah.
but can you show me where you deleted that video from?
Okay.
What's this?
What's deleted?
This is you're deleting your pictures?
Yeah.
You're deleting all your pictures?
178, what's your point?
That's fine.
Run through
Yeah.
Walmart parking lot.
How do you cancel this?
Wait, was he actively deleting them while the cops were standing there? Tackle, and I can't stress this enough, his ass to the ground. Like, don't leave him get rid of evidence. Like, I'd be willing to put all of my money on it. That's 465 cents that he has done this plenty times before. He's just gotten caught this time.
Yeah.
You're deleting all your pictures?
178, what's your point?
That's fine.
Run through
Yeah.
Walmart parking lot.
How do you cancel this? Can you cancel that? Did you cancel it?
Yeah.
What are these?
That is my the phone side.
Okay. But you deleted the one that you took of him, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Is there no deleted folder or anything?
No, we're not going to search for one. Lee?
Yeah.
What's your first name, sir?
Man,
How do you spell it?
MANGEUN.
G-E.
GEUN.
Born
Korea.
Korea? South Korea?
Yeah.
Okay. What city? Seoul?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you married? Do you have kids?
Yeah.
Do you have a wife?
Daughter and wife.
Okay. Okay.
I have extra number.
No. I have extra at home. Okay. So here's the thing. We have to confirm a couple things.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, at the very least, this is coming with me. Okay. Have you ever heard of what a search warrant is? A search warrant is something that I take out, and it would give me access to this entire device. So you're not going to be seeing this device for a little bit, okay? We have to work through those mechanisms. But this device is coming with us because we have to find that video. Even though we have your admission is one thing. We have to find that video. Okay? Can I get the pen? Can you hold that?
Yeah.
You want to press charges?
I do. He needs to learn.
Did she get your information?
I ran his name and I have his phone number for him.
Okay. So this time.
So that's actually a really interesting point. Just not just specific to this video, but in general, videos from the States. Here's my question, and I know I could Google this and probably get a very instantaneous response, but I rather hear what people know and their experience of it, or more importantly, their experience of how it actually works in practice. Okay, so in Ireland, for example, how can I even phrase this? So in the US, they have police by consent, for example. So if you're the injured party, you are the one essentially pressing charges via the police, via the state prosecutor, or, you know, depending on the severity of the case, federal prosecutor. There are then crimes that are what we would call in Ireland offences against the state, where the state is the one that's prosecuting, and it doesn't matter who the alleged victim is, for example. Here in Ireland, you have no choice. A cop in Ireland will not turn around to you and ask you, do you want to press charges? They either are doing it or they're not, and they are the ones prosecuting. You have no say in it. I just find it very interesting. I think to an extent, it's actually a very positive thing. So if somebody does something to you that's, you know, maybe not great, but, you know, probably not worth giving them a criminal record for, and a cop said to the victim, do you want us to press charges? And you say, look, you know, I think he's got enough of a fright, maybe just have a word with him, warn him not to do it again. I think that's a very positive way of policing, and I'm sure a lot of cops would prefer maybe to do it that way. Now, obviously, in Ireland, our police on Garda Síochána, which is Gaelic Irish for the protectors of the peace. So our cops don't have police written on their back. They just have Garda written on it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. They're never going to turn around to you and ask, but they also do have a lot of discretion with certain things. So if they feel maybe the best course of action is to give somebody a bit of a talking to, they'll do that. You know what I mean? I just find that it's a really interesting difference in our legal system, I suppose. Whereas then you take Australia, for example, is the other extreme. From my own experience working in the court system there, the cops actually have very little leeway in what they can allow people to get away with. I've heard loads of stories here in Ireland where a cop stops somebody and they maybe have a small bit of weed, which is still illegal in Ireland, or some other tiny bit of a certain substance that's illegal, which would warrant a possession charge, right? And that can be quite serious here, actually. And I've heard of cops being like, hey, look, just throw it down the drain and go home. Sure, I'm sure that happens in the States. I've heard stories about similar things happening in the States. In Australia, that's a big no-no. If you are caught doing a crime, they have to prosecute it. Like, they're so strict. Well, in Western Australia anyway. Federally as well, I think. I'm not sure about the rest of the states of Australia, but anyway. Let's see where this goes.
Just go ahead, turn around for me. Okay. You're going to be under arrest. Come on.
Hook 'em, boys.
Just don't fight it.
You guys are doing that. He's an iron.
Oh my God, the fake. He sounded like a fucking, like a little Yamaha motorcycle.
Let me see your other one. Just go ahead and drop this stuff.
186, code 4.
Okay. Go ahead, spread your legs for me real fast. Do you have any weapons on you that I need to know about? Okay, you have any drugs or paraphernalia? Can I search through your pockets?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Napkin? A sock?
Sock.
These are the keys to your car, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it your sock?
Do you have anything written down on these napkins? Got you just wearing the jacket.
You want a 1095, 1 mil.
Okay. Can we throw this away?
1095 at 1302.
No, you don't want this thrown away? These are just napkins, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So can we throw them away or no?
Okay, you can. But don't throw the keys.
Or we could just put it in this bag, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, all that shit. I think that's kind of the end of it. We'll see what his charges were.
You got both written statements? Can I see the one from the manager?
Okay, well, there was no information about it, but obviously he's banged rights there. Like he pretty much, well, I mean, he absolutely admitted it, and he was caught red-handed. So look, voyeurism it's a big thing. It's been around forever. As long as people have been shagging, there's been somebody trying to watch on from the bushes, I guess. I suppose a big element of this is there's so many reasons for it, I suppose. It is a huge thing on the adult content sphere. Now, so I actually did a lot of research into a study that was done about maybe it's actually quite recent. I think it was actually done during COVID times. One half of it was done during COVID lockdowns, and the other half was done either immediately before or immediately after. I can't remember. So there was a really interesting comparison in terms of number one, the volume of use of adult content, and number two, the types of content and how it changed. Oh yeah, so it was before and during COVID, and how that use changed and the severity and I suppose the how extreme the stuff was. It's a proven fact. It gets more and more extreme as somebody's maybe addiction or use of that material progresses, especially if it's kind of a consistent and constant thing. Like cards on the table, it's never done it for me. I have zero interest in it. I just don't like it. I'm not against it. I don't have a problem with it. If people want to whatever, that's their own business. As long as it's like legal, I suppose, then have at it. Like it makes no difference to my life. It's just not something I'm interested in, frankly, genuinely as well. I'd tell you if I was. But this study that took place, it was. I'll find it. I'll try find it and maybe put it in the comment section. Not today though, because I have got to go to bed soon because I'm absolutely shattered. But it was a massive breakdown on volume of use by region, by age, gender, sexuality. What was the other? There was a few other categories. There was actually a comprehensive list, and it was fascinating to see. Number one, just that list, and you see very clear trends in certain areas, certain age groups, etc. But one of the things that I found really fascinating was once that paper essentially came out, you had all of the supplementaries came in the months that followed from experts, from psychologists, sexologists, like all sorts of people who looked at the numbers and the breakdown and tried to give different explanations for specific areas of it, age being a big part of it, and what type of material was consumed by what age groups was a massive focus. But the one that I found really, really interesting was the regional consumption. Completely leaving aside age, gender. I think it was predominantly male anyway. I think it is anyway, but leaving aside age, I know they left aside age in it because it wasn't really relevant, but what this particular person, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's a psychologist and an anthropologist. I'll try to find it if I can. I just kind of found it by chance and it was fascinating. So he broke it down by region and he was unapologetic in it as well. He was like, this has nothing to do with race, religion, anything like that. And when he took a deep dive into the types of material and where they're watched, It was fascinating. So, for example, there was a correlation between the level of sexual repression in a country. And for those of you who don't know what that means off the rip, and that's not to be condescending, but sometimes I use words that people don't understand, and that's fine. It would be countries where being openly sexual or talking about or whatever would be taboo, but not like illegal or necessarily frowned upon. So, examples of countries where that was a huge focus of the study was Japan, South Korea. Uh, there was a few others as well, but they were the two main countries in particular. But that region, I think, was the focus of the study. And in countries where sexual repression is high, but there's no necessarily there's no kind of major legal boundaries to consumption or to different types of sexualities or whatever. In those regions, they've found that a lot of the consumption became quite extreme quite quickly. A lot of it was voyeurism, a huge amount. Actually, I think it was the largest consumption of voyeurism was South Korea, because obviously there's no data for North Korea. South Korea, Japan, and China, I think as well. Those three countries had the highest consumption, and actually, I don't know if it's directly linked or not, but also the highest content creation of that type of content, which I'll get to in a second. But then they looked at countries where sexual repression was extremely high, countries where any form of adult entertainment is illegal or borderline illegal. So examples would be most Arab countries, a lot of African countries. I think they were the majority. Actually, Russia has very strict laws on that, especially same sex stuff and all that kind of thing in recent years. In the countries where the repression was extremely high, specifically Islamic countries, for obvious reasons, I mean, that goes without saying, how extreme the material was, you would think would be an exponential growth of how extreme it is. But in actual fact, it was the opposite effect. And I think you referred to it as the reverse hourglass effect. Oh, no, it was the hourglass effect. So at the top, you had the really hyper repressed countries. In the middle, you had countries like Japan, South Korea, places like that where there's a lot of repression, but not a lot of law around it. And then at the bottom, you had the countries where there was essentially no sexual repression. So the United States was one of them. Uh, Canada, I think, was up there. Um, the Netherlands, Germany, I think they were kind of the main ones. Oh, and some of the Southeast Asian countries. I think it was predominantly Thailand and the Philippines. No, I think there's laws against it in the Philippines. But anyway, the interesting thing about it was the extremely repressed countries had actually quite mild content types, very basic, nothing too crazy. The other extreme is the very open countries had actually incredibly extreme stuff. Um, and then in the middle was the likes of Japan, China, and South Korea, where it was just astronomically extreme. So it just flipped on its head. It was really, really interesting how that worked. And oh yeah, it was the reverse hourglass. So in the middle, you had Japan, China, and South Korea, which had the most extreme content. And basically, the theory behind it was that the hyper repressed countries, because their access is extremely limited and talk about that kind of thing is extremely limited, and it's taboo and it's against in a lot of countries against Islamic law, Sharia law, it's haram. In those countries, because of the lack of access, the very basic stuff is all people kind of really wanted to see, and they see it in such tiny amounts across such a small percentage of the population that there's no room for that growth in extreme content. Then at the other end of the spectrum, you have, like the US, Canada, the Netherlands was a big one. It was very extreme, but not like getting into the super creepy illegal stuff. And then in the middle, you had Japan, South Korea, and China, which had really extreme stuff, and quite a lot of really violent stuff, really, really violent, really just frankly weird stuff. I remember some of the captions were so funny. There was ones involving sumo wrestlers, which I've been accused of being before many times. They used to call me Baby Sumo. There was sumo wrestlers. There was like you've all heard the obvious, like the octopus and all that kind of shit. And then there was like the really like what would be very much illegal in most countries, and it was fascinating. So I wonder, to circle it back to the beginning, is some of his behavior because of repression? Is it because, he said he's married with kids, which would, for the most part indicate that somebody is heterosexual, and he's filming dudes secretly because maybe he's just also attracted to dudes but can't admit it? Is it culturally, like I know in South Korea it's not massively looked down on, but it certainly wouldn't be as open as it would be in the Western world, for example. It could still be something that could be considered shameful. So maybe it's because of that. Um, and that's not for 1 minute to justify any of this at all. It's just it's fascinating the to look into the frame of mind of the individual, and it's not because he's Asian. Obviously, it's because he said he's from Seoul, South Korea, and that is quite a repressed country sexually in a lot of it. Not completely. I mean, Jesus, they're very, I suppose, modern and Western. They're one of the most technologically advanced countries on the planet. But when it comes to culturally, they can be quite repressed as well, in a lot of places. So it's just a fascinating thing. I'm just interested to see what people think about that. And funnily enough, a lot of people think that Ireland is very sexually repressed because of our Catholic history. The fact of the matter is, most of us are somewhat culturally Catholic. Our parents maybe went to Mass or brought us to Mass when we were kids. The vast majority of Irish people, even though we would definitely call ourselves Catholic because of that kind of, Catholic Protestant thing. And just, it's part of our cultural identity. Most of us, 99% of us, are not practicing Catholics at all. I was born into a Catholic family, as 99% of people in the South, in the Republic of Ireland, are. I went to Mass as a child, and I was more interested in the history of the Roman Catholic Church. But I definitely wouldn't consider myself a practicing Catholic at all, like at all. And most people from kind of the generation before mine, like my brother's generation, like 45-ish years old, down to now, down to my generation and further down, are just completely not Catholic. And we're actually a very open country with that kind of thing. We're one of the first countries in the world to legalize same-sex marriage. In fact, I think, were we the first country in the world to legalize same-sex marriage? I feel like we were. Um, yeah, maybe. And it's interesting because in Ireland, we actually do really very differently to the US. We completely separate social stuff from politics to some extent. I mean, obviously, they're always going to be intermingled. But like, I know people who would consider themselves to be pretty conservative. Mind you, Irish conservatism is very different to British or American conservatism. We're kind of very centrist, I suppose. As a nation, we're quite centrist people anyway. We're very, we sit in the middle and we're like, see what happens. That's kind of been our attitude forever. But I know people who consider themselves quite conservative. When asked, are you going to vote in favor of same-sex marriage? They're like, well, yeah, I'd like, there's nothing gayer than worrying about what two dudes do with their willies, and that's the attitude that we have here. So yeah, we wouldn't be very high up on the repression scale. We would have been like a generation or two ago. Sorry, I'm still suffering so bad with hay fever. It's so dusty right here. But anyway, folks, thank you so much for joining me. I know this was a bit of a long one. That's what she said. Or maybe that's what he said when he looked back at the video. Maybe that's why the guy wanted him to delete it, because it wasn't very flattering. I don't know. It's awful. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll catch you in the next one. Sláinte.